Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Ted Xane Shadow Weeson to discuss the recent Japanese overview trailer for Pokkén Tournament. So let's get started. So Ted, we just got this trailer out of Japan for Pokkén Tournament. It's the first actual high-quality trailer we've gotten for the game. Usually it's all been taken from direct footage and like live streams where the quality just isn't that great. And of course it went over a lot of the systems at play that we pretty much already know about, but just as a pure trailer perspective, what'd you think of all this?
Well, it's nice to see some HD footage of the game in action, because if I remember correctly, the last, fully clear video that we got was that teaser trailer way back with Lucario and Machamp, and that was about it. So, since we have quite a few new Pokemon announced since then, it's nice to be able to see in crystal clear definition what their attacks look like and stuff, because I'm not sure how arcade technology is different from console technology, but this is a pretty graphically impressive game. The model quality and the animation on all the Pokemon especially is very good, and I like the backgrounds quite a bit. There's a lot of detail in there, with just random Pokemon floating around. I think at one point in the water arena, there's a tentacle just sort of hanging around there. So I appreciate all of that quite a bit, but unfortunately there isn't too much new information from what I could tell. It was just more of an overview of things that we've already seen.
Yeah, this is pretty much one of those hype trailers to get people intrigued about the game if they haven't been following up to that point. And it does that job well. It shows all the Pokemon, it shows a lot of cool moves from them, it shows off the model quality, which as you said, it's really good. With a very active background, you saw the tentacle in the underwater level. I saw the horde of 20 or so love discs going by, and it's just so active in the background. Nothing's really that static. So it makes it all the more impressive because it makes it look like you're fighting in this living, breathing world. Although, while you're probably fighting, you're probably not going to have your attention on that stuff that much. So it's still appreciated, though.
Yeah, I think I ignored the love disc mostly just because I don't like to think about that particular Pokemon much. Yeah, I think, fighting games, you tend to see either the backgrounds just don't tend to be very vibrant in a lot of fighting games, especially 3D ones, I notice, because it tends to, if you make it too busy back there, it tends to chug the action a little bit. You can see that in Smash Brothers, where in order for 8-player stages to be a thing, a lot of background stuff need to be taken out in some instances. But I do think that that's one of the game's strongest points, is not just its technical fidelity, but the amount of personality that they managed to input into the Pokemon. There's one point where Pikachu crosses his arms really sassily, and it's just, I don't know, that made me smile when I saw it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of, each of them has personality, and it fits the personality you'd expect of them. Well, except for Pikachu. Pikachu just seems like a stone-cold badass in those poses, which is just weird. But then you got this, really happy and, flex-happy Machamp. You got this, this Gardevoir that's more demure and whatnot. I like how they're infusing these Pokemon with a little bit more personality. You still it helps you feel a little bit more connected to them in a way.
What it reminds me of particularly is the anime, in that a lot of the times, at least Ash's Pokemon from the anime, or whatever Pokemon his tag-alongs would have, they would have a more defined personality than just just being a Pikachu and going Pika Pika. The first example that comes to mind is Ash's Chikorita from the Johto arc having a huge crush on him, or his muck constantly glomping Professor Oak and things like that. So, a lot of the personality, when I'm playing Pokemon myself, I tend to kind of infuse personalities onto the Pokemon that I'm playing, because, there's not an awful lot there, because most of the times it's just kind of sprites. So it's nice to see a Pokemon game bring that forward without you having to put it onto the characters for once, which is nice.
It is, and we've actually seen more evidence of other trainers in this little overview trailer, because we already saw the main I assume, main male trainer, and we had seen the female trainer in clips from that my previous analysis, and you get a better look at her in this trailer as well. But there's actually another trainer in the one slot. It's another male trainer, this time with a hat and sort of like flared out hair in the back. But the problem I'm having is I can't tell whether it's the original trainer just customized a bit in order to make him look a little different, or if it's actually a completely new trainer. Because that really matters. It sort of determines whether there's a lot of predetermined trainers or if there's just a bunch of ways that you can customize your own personal trainer in the same sort of way that you could in Fire Emblem Awakening, where it actually affects the animated model as well.
Yeah, that was the first comparison I thought was Fire Emblem Awakening, because it's hard to tell with the stream that we're given, the footage that we're given, I should say. It kind of looked like the two male trainers had the same or a very similar kind of face, and now that might just be Ken Sugimori's art style. You know, faces aren't really too distinct for the most part, or at least young male faces don't tend to be that distinct, I should say. Not like he's like Akira Toriyama, everybody looks the same levels or anything, but, you know, you get what I mean. So it is kind of difficult to tell, but considering that this game apparently has... I forget the name of them.
Cards that you can take down, the passports, I believe. The banner passports.
Yeah, so you can, like, save your Pokemon's specific level ups and stats onto those. So I wouldn't be surprised if also on that card you could keep your own customizable trainer and then have them, have them appear next to your Pokemon whenever you fight. Because one of the biggest complaints that I saw about Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby was that customizable trainers were gone. A lot of people were very upset about that. So, you know, I think after the fan outcry of that, they would probably want to reintroduce it in this title and see if it gets more positive support like it did in X and Y. So I wouldn't be surprised if if that data tags along on that Namco Bandai card, or if they added amiibo support, because I'm pretty sure it runs off the same technology. I would be not shocked at all if, like, your Pikachu amiibo could be a Pikachu in Pokkén Tournament.
Probably. I still have no doubt in my mind that this is going to get ported to the Wii U eventually. But you're right. People love customizing their trainers. They like that personalization that they're in the game itself, which is, you know, is always kind of nice. And speaking of actually leveling up and keeping track of your trainer, we finally did get a good look at how leveling up your Pokemon in this game will work. They show you level, I believe it's Lucario, leveling up from 1 to 2, and the trainer, then you get to pick which stat you get to focus on. And looks like you only get one stat increase per level. No idea what the actual max increase is, but it is cool how you can sort of customize your Lucario to your playstyle. So I hope they keep this spirit of customization going in Pokkén Tournament.
Me too. The only things that I'm wondering is, one, how long it takes to level up a Pokemon. Like, does it take 1 fight, 2 fights, 5 fights, and so on? And another thing that I'm wondering is if there's, like, a stat cap. Like, can you, like, if the cap is, because you only level up 1 at a time, like, is the cap 10 for each stat, and you can level up the Pokemon to level 40 and then it has 10 in all 4 stats? Or is it that the level cap is like 20 and you need to decide which attributes you want your Pokemon to be specialized in? Because I think due to the way like EV and IV training work in the games, I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the latter, because in Pokemon main game, you can use EVs to sort of personalize each Pokemon's stats by training them the specific way, but you can't max out EVs in every stat. You need to you generally need to pick either 1 or 2 to focus in, or spread them out evenly if you want to be a more balanced kind of trainer, although I don't know if that's a common thing in competitive battling. I haven't kept up with it in a while, but, you know, I'm interested to see in how they play with the customization elements a little bit, because it is something that ties back into the like the main series of Pokemon, in that, you know, Pokemon is a shockingly deep customizable game, you know, that a lot of people might not notice if they just sort of run through to the Elite Four and then turn the game off.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I really hope that I actually would prefer the second thing, where they give you a lot of options to power up stats, but your max level won't fill up all those stats. It does give that personalization, because eventually, if it's the other way around, everybody's going to have the same stats across all their Pokemon. That's not as unique and not as fun. You can have it sort of defeats the purpose of having different builds. So I hope it is the case of the latter way of increasing your Pokemon stat.
Not to mention that if there is an online component to this game, if/when it gets ported to the console, that would just mean that if you wanted to survive online past like the first 2 months, you'd need to grind your Pokemon up to max by doing computer battles, which is nowhere near as fun. So yeah, that's just what I'm hoping for the most part. It's that there's a little bit more user input, and you're not just sort of getting everyone up to max level in order to stand a chance.
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts on this new overview trailer?
Well, it looks really cool, but the gameplay, I should say, looks pretty cool. The thing is that I'm not very good at fighting games. Like, I'm awful. And so, I love Pokemon, but I think, I'm intrigued right now, but I don't think it's quite at like a must-buy status yet. I think, the future characters are really going to be what sells this game or doesn't sell this game for me, because they've got pretty solid choices so far. I like kind of more off-the-wall picks like Suicune and Machamp, but whether or not I pick up the game for myself, I think depends entirely on the character roster and who they pick to fill out the remaining however many slots are left. So
yeah,
that's just mostly what I'm waiting for, is more character announcements.
Hopefully that'll come soon, because that's sort of determinant for me, and the single player modes, because I like single player modes in fighting games. That's how I usually play, because if I go online, I'm like you. I'm not that great. I'm gonna get my butt kicked, and that's not always the most fun for me.
No.
So I am intrigued in single player modes, which they do usually add a bunch of in fighting games when they port it from arcade to home console. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But alright guys, well I think that covers it for our Pokkén Tournament discussion. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you Ted for joining me today for this. Where can they find you at?
Not a problem. You can find me at Brain Scratch Comms, where we do commentaries on all sorts of different games. We've done some Pokemon in the past. I also have my own standalone channel where where recently I've been posting replays of Hyrule Warriors grounding streams that I've been doing, and we talk very little about Hyrule Warriors and a lot about basically anything else you could think of. So if that sounds interesting to you, then go check that out as well.
Yeah, general discussion's always fun. But if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, and of course stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Pokemon and other things gaming too. Till next time guys, bye.